Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Yet again, another live webinar. Today, we are here specifically to talk about marketing and digitization for our restaurants. Information I'm sure that you'll likely find helpful for every industry, but the conversation is really going to focus heavily on the restaurant and service industry. I've got two incredible ladies with me today from the SBDC. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their background before we get into it. Emily, let's go ahead and start with you.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having us, Brianna, and the Flint Chamber of Commerce. We were just commenting about how much the Chamber is actually doing to keep all of you informed. So yes, I am a hospitality consultant. I have over 15 years of experience with a 5-star resort. I've worked with a 3 Michelin star chef. I've worked with leading hotels of the world. So I am back in Michigan, where I was raised and born, and just super happy and excited to be here to bring my talent. So everything from cost analysis to looking at your menus, guest experiences, secret shopping, all of those type of things I'm able to bring to the table and help you with operations. So I'm really excited to be joined today by my friend from the SBDC, Shannon, and business partner, I guess, or colleague. And Shannon is a marketing guru, so I will let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Schwabe. I am with the SBDC, and I am the counselor for St. Clair County. I'm also a business owner, so I can relate to you guys as well out there throughout these times. I have a business that is in the hospitality, so I totally understand what everyone's going through. I built my first business, both my businesses, on marketing and an effective marketing plan, and so I'm excited to help you guys today.
Thank you so much, ladies. I also do want to give a quick shout out to two ladies who aren't here, but are definitely worth mentioning. Big thank you to Heather Kale, who is the general manager of the Ferris Wheel Downtown, and Katie Yellow, who leads up the What's Up Downtown project in downtown Flint. This idea actually originated from a conversation that they had with the What's Up Downtown placemaking committee from some conversations that they were hearing in downtown Flint from restaurant owners. So we're happy to be working with them today on this webinar, happy to bring this information to anyone and everyone who is watching. So if you know someone who has not hopped on yet but should be here, feel free to tag them in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube. That's also where you can drop your questions and comments at any time. We'll come back to those in just a minute. I'm going to hand it over to Emily and Shannon to run us through a couple of quick slides before we open it up for general discussion.
So yes, this is the marketing and digitalization for restaurants. We are the I-69 trade corridor. So although you may be watching from anywhere around the state of Michigan, we are specific to the trade corridor. We work with new ventures. So if you are looking to start a business or you are an existing business, you're looking for growth within your company or advanced technology companies, those are all kind of sectors that we do work with. So again, even if you're not part of the hospitality industry, we would be happy to talk to you. We have a multitude of individuals who can help with any of these businesses. We do offer no cost one-to-one business consulting services. We offer a business education platform. So right now we're doing most of those via webinars, information-based planning through secondary market research, and we also have technology commercialization. Again, we work with small business teams. We work with business growth teams. We have export assistance teams that we are able to help kind of coordinate different touch points there, and then the technology commercialization team as well. So we have a group of really talented individuals here, again, for no one-to-one cost consulting. So no cost one-on-one consulting. So it's really valuable, and we encourage you to reach out to us to talk about your business. Some of the topics that we discuss through our different trainings are starting a business, the business plan, financial and accounting, customer relations, government contracting, social media, which is one that we'll be touching on today, legal, management, and marketing and sales also is going to be one of those topics today we talk about. The SBDC, you wonder, how can this be that there's no cost for this one-to-one consulting with these really incredibly talented individuals? Well, that's because we have a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration, so the SBA, which you have probably heard a lot of recently because of different grants that have come out in funding, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, so the MEDC, and also matched funding from our local network partners. So we are part of Kettering University, and you can see that we do cover the entire state of Michigan with the Michigan SBDC. And we'll come back to that question slide at the end. And I do want to open it up in case anybody does have any questions right now. I would be happy to hear any of them. And Shannon, I am excited about this conversation. You and I had a conversation the other day in preparation for this, and we probably talked for about 30 minutes just on topics that we could discuss, even delving in. So you have a really strong background with search engine optimization, with understanding how people can find you. So talk to everybody about the importance. You know, I go on a website recently, an example, I went on a website and I got the wrong number for a restaurant. So it didn't go to their restaurant. Their website wasn't linked so that I could order online. And I ended up going into the restaurant to try to order, and it was a really kind of mess. So how can people be found online right now when everybody looks to online for pretty much everything these days?
So, you know, we're experiencing all of that around here or in my area as well. And what I have to tell people is, like, you need to make sure that you're on top of your information that's out there. You know, update your Google. If you're not on Google, you need to have a Google business listing. And you can get that by going to gybo.com. That's Get Your Business Online. Google has a whole business suite and they will walk you through it. And it's super easy. And if you're not there, it's the first thing people do when they're looking for you. They Google you. And if you're not on Google, how do they find you? Then, you know, if you are there, you need to make sure you're keeping that information up to date right now. You know, people are Googling you, and if your hours aren't right, or if you've changed, or like you said, you've got the wrong phone number. I mean, if we can't find you, I understand all of the restaurants are struggling right now, right? And they are facing challenges. But as a consumer, the consumers are facing challenges because they can't support the restaurants in the manner that they want to because they don't have their information updated. So first thing you need to do is do a checklist of where you are on the internet. Do you have a website? Are you on Google? What social media outlets are you on? Get all of that information up to date so people can find you.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point, Shannon. So I'm hearing from some restaurants in our area that when COVID hit, the updated restrictions, that Google actually went ahead and marked everyone as temporarily closed if they weren't keeping up their Google listings. Is that something that you guys have heard about? And if someone didn't create their Google listing originally, where is that information being pulled from?
So what they're doing, I did not hear that they marked everyone temporarily closed during that. I did not have any, thankfully, none of my clients that happened to. So that's good. They're pulling that information, you know, basically like they have queries that pulls the local businesses. So they're using that to kind of help get all that updated. But it's really important for the business owner to take ownership of that. So if your business is already listed there, you can go on and claim that page. So if you go on, just click claim that page, it'll go through the same steps as it would be if you were listing it for the first time.
Great. And I do want to point out, I know Emily mentioned it a little bit in her slides, and I'll go ahead and drop the link in the comments so you guys have it here. But SBDC, they do a whole series of webinar events, learning opportunities. And I saw coming up on January 26th, there is actually a Google specific, I think it's specific to Google Maps. But again, getting all of your correct information in there, where to find you, that'll be coming up January 26th. So I'll be sure to drop that information in the comments as well.
That's one thing we're super excited about bringing on board this year. I've been working with our other consultant out of Shiawassee, Cheryl Peterson, to bring an entire Google series to our region. So it's starting off with a simple Google Maps, and then we'll be going through each step. So we partnered with Google, and so we're going to be able to bring all these trainings right to our region.
That's awesome. And so if someone registers for one of those webinars, will it put them on a mailing list so they get updates as the series is scheduled out?
No. If they want to have updates, they need to make sure they register with us. They do
Okay.
get an agreement for that particular session, but we do want to make sure we get their registration so we can keep them all up to date.
Great. And we'll be sure to share that information out as well.
Thanks.
Wonderful. So I want to talk about social media a little bit because I know that a lot of the people that I know are on Facebook way more than they ever used to be, and they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So what is the importance of like sharing, for free, looking at opportunities where we can spread what you're doing, the specials that you have for the day, or the food pictures, because hospitality is such a visual. We eat with our eyes sometimes. So I think that using really great photography and making sure that you are utilizing your social media, because if you have 30 minutes a week that you have blocked off, you can schedule out posts and you can just have those automated. So coming into a space where we really need to buckle down on finances. Everybody's looking at the bottom line and saying, okay, how can we get more customers in the space without physically being in the space right now? And how can we gain new followers? And so social media, I think, is such a powerful tool where, you can ask people to like or share things, or, if I know something, Shannon knows something, but the people that Shannon knows don't know, maybe she shares it on her Facebook page that I've shared. So now everyone's connected and everybody understands and sees, what you're doing and what's going on. Because again, if you don't update your menu and you're still running on your full menu right now, which I really hope that people have pared back their menus. If you're trying to run anything more than 25 items, 24 items right now, and if you're not using them in multiple different dishes, I can only imagine the cost of your food waste right now. So if you're having that problem, reach out to us and talk about it, because we are here to, help you work on your business and not necessarily in your business so much, because you have been working in your business for the past 8 months, just trying to stay afloat, some of you.
Mm-hmm. And Emily, you bring up a really good point. I just want to make one comment, Shannon, and then I'm going to come to you. And then I want to come back to menus, because that's like a whole topic in itself. But something that we talked about in the last webinar, Emily, for restaurant owners, was really to find your ambassador group when it comes to social media. So doing your own posts, like you said, it isn't enough. You have to find people who's going to share it for you, who's going to help you get the word out, whether it be family, friends, your most reoccurring customers. But then from a consumer perspective, I do want to remind everyone that those reviews matter. What you say online matters. And so if you have an issue that comes up, I want to encourage everyone to call the restaurant before you go to social media and post about the issue, and understand that everyone is under a lot of pressure. They're busier on the phones, and so go to them first. But also, if you are a consumer, leave that positive review when you have that great experience, so that other people know what they can expect in going there as well. Shannon, what were you going to say? I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No. I just wanted to touch on Facebook and the social media, right? You don't have to be on every outlet when it comes to all the social media outlets. There's so many different ones out there. You just need to be where your customers are. And if your customers are on Facebook, then you need to up your game. Just because you have a page doesn't mean that they can see you. With Facebook algorithms, you're posting, but if you're not engaging and you're not interacting, Facebook isn't even going to show that in people's news feeds. And so you really need to work on getting your content up there. Think about, a formula, create a formula. One day we're going to share a personal post. One day we're going to share our menu item. One day we're going to share a community post. And that's going to help bring you up into that algorithm. So people are going to start seeing your posts. If you want someone to share, you need to tell them at the end of your post, say, please share. When it's on social media, people need to be told what to do. And so if you tell them what to do, they're going to be happy to help you. So there's just a couple of Facebook tips.
Yeah, and maybe incentivize sharing, $10 gift card, or one free appetizer for whoever shares the most or gets the most likes or comments. That's a great creative way too. So if someone maybe isn't as social media savvy, is that something they could sit down and look at with you guys in the one-on-one consulting? Here's what I have, here's where I'm started, where should I go or how should I schedule this out?
So what's really great is we have our team at Grand Valley State University, and we've got the market research team, and we can perform a social media audit. So I just had one sent out for a client today. It tells her where she should be, where she is, and how she can get better at those places. So that is one of the services that we offer.
Yeah, and what's the cost for that again?
Nothing.
It's free. It is free. I know. It seems like, oh, I don't have the time to do this. I don't have the time to sit down and talk to someone and go through this, but for free, you have to make the time because the outcome, the revenue that it could potentially bring in outweighs taking the time to do it.
Well, and like Emily and I were talking yesterday when we were preparing for this, it doesn't have to be an hour conversation every time. We can talk for 15 minutes. We prefer bite-sized conversations so we don't overwhelm you with information, and we send you with actionable items to walk away with.
Mm-hmm. And I want to make a quick note that some of the information we're sharing here today is very general, but we're hoping that it'll help you realize what it is that you need as an individual business owner, because it's hard to put together a webinar that covers every single topic that people are looking for because the needs are so different. So we hope that you'll hear something that sparks an interest in you to reach out to the team at SBDC to do that one-on-one consulting and dive in a little deeper. I want to take it over to menus now because I know, Emily, you had mentioned sitting down and looking at a menu is something that you could do. You mentioned that paring back the menus is something that should have already been done, and if not, look to do it. But because we're here to talk about marketing and digitization, can we talk about digitization of menus real quick? How should that be presented online? Where should it be presented? And let's walk through that a little bit, because I've seen a couple of different things. I've seen, like the phone picture of a menu and uploaded somewhere that luckily you find. I've seen some really great online websites. Click here, add to cart. What should people be doing?
Definitely ordering online. You want to have that into your repertoire now. If you don't have it already, contact your point of sale system. I know that Facebook even has a way that you're able to add ordering to Facebook. Logistically, you need to look at it to think about how can it be expedited? How is it going to be good going into the kitchen? How's the information transfer going to occur so that your team knows that that order was placed? But, again, you need every single way that people can order from you possible right now. So, Shannon, go ahead.
They've got apps that you can use in Facebook. And so one thing a lot of my clients have been implementing is Gloria Food. And it can be a free service to them that you can go right on, order on their Facebook page. It gets sent to the phone of whoever's responsible at the restaurant. And it doesn't get confirmed with the consumer until they accept it. So it makes it a little bit more streamlined. I know like right now we're all trying to answer the phones, trying to hit the people in front of us, and then trying to figure out how to do online ordering. Make it easy, right? You can make it easy by letting people reach you through these multiple outlets, whether it is ordering on your website or ordering through your Facebook page. You just have to let them know how they can find you.
Mm-hmm. And I would recommend not taking a picture from your phone of your menu. If you can put that, and if you have troubles doing this, again, you can reach out for help, but make a JPEG of your Word document menu and upload that to Facebook. It's going to look more professional. Please also consider lighting when you're taking your pictures. Food is, again, such a beautiful creation in your culinary expertise. And so capture those food items, make sure that you're showing people how yummy and how wonderful your food is, and even the safety precautions that you're taking, because once the doors open and you're able to have people within your space, you want everyone to know that it's safe. So I know that that's not part of marketing or digitalization, but it is kind of marketing, because you're marketing your high level of concern for your employees, for the people who are walking through your doors and who are going to be enjoying food in your space. So, considering all of those type of things and include that in your marketing, and include, some of the items, talk to your accountant if maybe you can write off some of the PPE, I'm sorry, if you're going to be using it for marketing, I don't know. I think being creative this year and, show and tell is my whole motto with food and beverage. So
when it comes to show and tell, I'm going to kind of pop in there a little bit.
Yeah.
One of my businesses, I've been a photographer for 12 years. So here's a quick tip when you're taking your pictures: move to the window, put the window light and let it hit your food. It's going to make your picture pop so much more. You'll be surprised at how much more interaction you get from that.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Very true. Lighting is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So when talking about online ordering, we know that a lot of restaurant owners have had to decrease the staff that they have in the building because of these limitations and restrictions. Is there a way with these online ordering platforms to limit the capacity of orders that are coming in at one time so that the kitchen staff isn't overwhelmed, or, the takeout staff who's running to the front? Is there a way to keep track of that, what's coming in, and what promises we're making in the online platform of when you're going to be able to come and pick it up?
There are certain programs that will do that, and there are others that will not. So that's always a concern, is being in the weeds. And once you get in that, it's hard to dig yourself out in a kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
And so I would say that's very important to be able to limit how many you have coming in. But that's not even possible when people are calling you,
Right.
Like if you have calls coming in, you want to capture as much business as you possibly can. So I would be looking for probably one of the programs that does allow you to at least say we are only accepting, 10 orders every 15 minutes or whatever it might be. To kind of piggyback on what Shannon said, there's also different companies that are doing like delivery from restaurants. So it's more like family style food, larger orders that you would put your order in by Tuesday to have the delivery to your house by, Thursday. And so that lead time allows the restaurants to place their orders, not have the food waste that they might have if they're just ordering based on what their levels were last year, but no one's walking through your door. So your levels are all messed up. So I think, looking creatively at different opportunities, like it's called Market Wagon, is the one that I'm thinking of, and it covers Genesee County, Lapeer County, and Shiawassee County. And so even if you sell barbecue sauce, or you have a farm and you raise cattle and have eggs and all of that type of thing, you can put that on there as well. So similar to Gloria Foods, there are a lot of different opportunities out there, and looking at what's going to work best for you is a conversation that you would want to have with one of the consultants here, because there's not one set answer that's perfect for everybody, and I would say that an Italian restaurant or a Mexican restaurant may be able to push out food faster than a pub style that has more burgers and that type of thing, depending on how they're able to prep and what they have. I think that also thinking about marketing food that you prepare that's ready made and people can just take it home and heat it up. I think that's a really great thing. Or even looking at food that isn't cooked all the way, but you have compiled it, like different casserole dishes or that type of stuff. People can just pick up, take it home, and make it, just pop it in the oven for that 45 minutes and not really warm it up again, but they would actually be making it themselves at home. So I think that there's a lot of different marketing opportunities that you can show that you've pivoted and you're doing something a little bit different than what you were before.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to the menu, like Emily was talking about all the food waste, right? So what I've seen pretty successful with some of my restaurants is every weekend they're just offering a different special. So they're highlighting something off of their, menu, maybe 2 or 3 things. They're having a very limited menu, but they're selling out every weekend. Mm-hmm. So at least, they're going through that and they don't have all of this food waste, right? They're totally got a better handle on their numbers by selling out all their food and not having to waste anything. So creating these specials and, promoting just maybe one option on the weekend. If people have to look through their whole menu and choose, chances are they love your whole menu. So, give them just a couple of options and say, this is our specialty this weekend. Be surprised at how much you'll sell of it.
Yeah, and I really love the restaurants who are getting creative with that and thinking like, well, what else can I sell to go? So we're talking about to go food right now, but I've seen a lot of places offering to go drinks. We did a Spread the Cheer sweepstakes in December, and one of the winners, Cancun and Fenton, the person who nominated them because of their to go margaritas. I've also seen the Cork in downtown Flint a couple of months ago. They did to go sangria. So here's everything that you need to put it together when you get home. Here's the experience of coming in and having a drink, but being able to take it home since we can't have you in right now. And Emily, you mentioned, like selling barbecue sauce. What are some ways that people can get creative in what they're pushing out the door outside of just online ordering?
Absolutely. There's Italia Gardens in Flint that, they have a signature meatball that they have that you can get only there. And I said, okay, so package these in a package of, 12. And if somebody's coming in to pick up a thing of lasagna or spaghetti and they want those because, later in the week, they're going to make their own meatball subs or something and they want your meatballs in it. So yeah, definitely be creative about other revenue streams that you can be creating for yourself, because diversification right now is key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some restaurants that totally pivoted and they started doing like breakfast casseroles for the weekend. Like you were talking about the half-baked things, so they're adding that additional service or being able to pick up a breakfast sandwich on Saturday so you don't have to run out Sunday morning. I've had the margaritas delivered to my house and I think it's a fantastic service, so there is a lot of things you can do. You just have to get a little creative, right? Sit down with Emily or myself or, any one of your confidants and just start throwing out ideas, and we're happy to walk you through them. There's definitely ways you can get creative and survive this.
Absolutely. And gain new people who are going to come through your doors once you're able to open back up, because that's also what we want to do. We don't want to just sustain right now. We want you to be in a growth position so that when you do open your doors, you have people who can't wait to come in and support you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to bring up something, again, that we talked about in the last webinar, but I think is very applicable here, because we know going digital, all of this marketing, it can be very overwhelming if your specialty is the food that is in your restaurant. Maybe that's what brought you to this industry in the first place. And one of the things that Emily mentioned last time that I think is still very applicable is talking to your employees and finding out more about what interests them and what their skill set is above what it is that they're doing for you currently. So maybe you have a waitress or a bartender, but they're going to school for marketing, or they have their own great personal social media. That's something that you can tap into them to do for you as restaurant owners, business owners. It doesn't always have to be something that you take on yourself. Look at your staff, see what it is that they're bringing to the table, and work with them to help you do it, help you make it happen.
Absolutely. And there are so many people who are in the service industry that are students or that are, have their own companies or that have a bunch of different talents that you just wouldn't know. So yeah, I think now communication is still key and it will always remain key. And talking to them about, what they're hearing within the community about the business and are people's experience, still the same, because when you put food into a to-go container, your whole menu is not going to transition well for that to go either. You need to really look at it and think about the guest experience, because even though they're taking it home, you want them to still feel like it's the yummy food that they're having in the restaurant. And there's just something about as soon as you put something in styrofoam, it pulls in that flavor. And I encourage people to look at alternate resources for to-go packaging. Please think of our universe and our world, if that's the one plea that I do during this. Explore different options and eco-friendly options, because we have this one world. And if you have kids, make sure that you're leaving a world for them to have in the future.
Absolutely. And, you got to remember too, your consumers, sometimes they don't live just down the road. They might be coming 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes back just to get their favorite item because they can't come into your place. One of our favorite lunch spots, Big John's Steak and Onion, as soon as you get in the car, you have to take it out of the bag or else it'll be soggy by the time you get out. You know, we know these things as consumers, but as restaurant owners, business owners, keep in mind the consumer experience and talk to people when they're coming in about, you know, how is it when you get home? That feedback is invaluable, really.
It is. And I encourage you to think about deconstructing and showing pictures of your food kind of deconstructed so people can see you don't have lettuce and tomato on an item that someone may be, going 25 minutes to get to home is probably going to put it in the oven. So if I have enchiladas and I have the, lettuce and the tomato and everything on it, once I put it in the oven, that's all now melted down and kind of ooey. So again, that experience, you want the consumer to continue to have that positive experience that they would have within your space.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, just a quick reminder, we are just, discussing things that are coming up as we mention them, but we want to hear your comments and questions. So feel free to leave them in the comment box at any time. We know it's a very busy morning with everything else going on. So this information will be sent out to view on demand at a later time. And we'll be sure to share the contact information for these ladies so that you can follow up with them afterwards. We're coming up on about a half hour. No questions or comments in the chat at this time. I want to kind of pivot to looking forward. The last time that we spoke on here, Emily, it was the day after restrictions, the 3-week pause went into place in November, and here we are mid-January with the same restrictions. We're hopeful that things will change in February, but we know that those are going to come with maybe new limitations that we didn't see before. What are you guys hearing in the industry, and what can we expect as businesses prepare to reopen?
I'm hopeful that February 1st, there will be at least the 25% occupancy rate. I think that, restaurants have taken a lot of precautions to make sure that safety is their number one priority. I think that as long as people are social distancing, as long as the staffing is limited, making reservations, I think that people can probably look at having more of a reservation system. You may want to look at Open Table, which is a place that you can limit how many people, come in or how many people order during a given period of time. But I think, just continuing to show, again, the consideration that you're putting towards the safety and the health of your team members, of the staff that you employ, and of your consumers, because you're doing all the right things. And I hope that February 1st, everybody will have the chance to at least have that 25% occupancy. And then gradually, we'll be able to add more capacity. But I'm hopeful, but again, I don't have that magic 8 ball. And
Right.
The 3-week pause was, like you said, back in November, and we're now January, and it's cold months here. People are still getting sick, and hopefully the vaccinations will be more broadly distributed, and people will feel more confident about going out in public too.
Mm-hmm.
I think our consumer dynamic has shifted tremendously. Looking at people who used to go out to eat 7-8 times a week, maybe more, are going and getting takeout 1 or 2 nights a week and cooking at home. So again, that show and tell and making sure that you are taking pictures of your food, you're showing people that you're thinking of their safety, that you're looking forward to welcoming them back into your doors, are all great things that you can use for your marketing.
Yeah, and what you just said, Emily, really reiterates this message too, because yes, we're looking forward to February, to hopefully opening up back in-person dining, but there are still going to be consumers who don't feel comfortable coming to dine in person. So looking at your digitization, your marketing will still be important even after we reopen, because there will be consumers who will still continue to order online for, the foreseeable future.
I think that if you don't implement that now, you're missing an opportunity for later.
Mm-hmm.
So this is could be a part of your growth plan, is when you reopen, you're going to continue these online services for people. So I think that would be a really good plan. Also, when you're talking about reopening, I just want to touch on real quick is make sure you have your COVID preparedness plan and that your employees are trained on that. What we're seeing a lot of restaurants getting hit by the health department is they simply don't have a plan. We have a plan. We can customize it for you. We can send it to you. You can customize it yourself, but you need to make sure your employees are trained on how to handle it and that you've got your plan.
Yeah, that's great. And these digital platforms like we're using today to live stream or Zoom or Skype or any of those, you don't have to bring the whole staff in to go over this information. You can send out a link and do it just like we're doing now, from the comfort of their own homes. I want to say I'm very hopeful for a mild winter. And when we talked last, again, we kind of joked about how are we supposed to do outdoor dining when we live in Michigan in the winter, but there are restaurants that are making it happen. I was downtown last week for the first time in a couple of weeks, and I hadn't realized that 501 had igloos. But then I saw over the weekend a friend who went out to brunch in downtown Holly. They didn't have any igloos. They just had their seats out on the patio with some, propane heaters. People brought their own blankets so that they could sit outside, and you can see consumers are itching to get back out there, and they'll sit outside in the winter to eat your meal if you make it happen for them.
Yes, they absolutely. People are very stir crazy in their homes right now, and really just sick of cooking. As a home cook, to have to cook all of these meals, we want your services, and so. I think any way that you can possibly make it happen. And the propane heaters aren't that expensive. You can probably find them for under $250 if you got the grant for the weatherization, hopefully looking at something like those. But yeah, I think definitely people want to support you. People want our restaurants. We want a place to continue to go to at the end of this. And so you have everybody's support that you had before, and probably even more people want to support restaurants because they hear about the struggles that you're going through. So again, showing your work, telling people to share it, press releases. Are you doing anything that you can reach out to your local media and say, okay, we have partnered with this charity, and so there's a great example, Weirdo, which is in the Flint area. And I said, pick your favorite charity and then pick a day of the month in December that you give a portion of your sales to that charity, and you ask the charity to share the event and the day that you're going to be doing it. So now you have an entire new group of people who may not have heard of you before. And she did such a great day of business that day that it ended up being just remarkable. So, connect with your community members, connect with the nonprofits in the community. Talking about food waste, what about giving that food to a charity, making sure, of course, that it's still perishable, that it's not past the time of when it needed to be, thrown away if it's something like that. But, looking at how can the food go into the community where we have so many hungry people. We have so many people who, have been misplaced because of what's happening and displaced from their jobs, and food insecurity is growing. So we, as a food and beverage industry, are able to help bridge that gap a little bit with our food waste. So thinking about being creative in that way, is another way that as a consultant, we're here to be able to help you connect those dots and really maximize your community involvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you might be watching and thinking, well, that was just one more day of increased revenue, but sometimes it's just that one day that you as a restaurant or business owner needs to get your energy and your spark back and your motivation to try these new things. But it's also could be the opportunity for someone to come through your door to support this charity who may have never been there before, and now you're going to be their new favorite restaurant, hopefully. So that's a really great idea. We're coming up on 40 minutes here. Again, still no questions or comments in the chat. So we're going to send this information out so that everyone can view it afterwards. What are your guys' thoughts as we kind of come to a close today? Your last one piece of information that you want people to know when they think of marketing or digitization for their restaurant.
I'll let Shannon go first.
I was going to say, you go ahead and go first. one thing, like, don't be afraid to market, right? Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be honest. People can relate to that. So, you don't want to be out there being Debbie Downer and complaining about everything, but it's okay to get raw and authentic on occasion on your site too. If you haven't implemented delivery services, that might be something to think about. In my area, we don't get DoorDash or Grubhub or any of those. So some of the restaurants have hired employees back just to do their delivery services, and that's really helped them out a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep marketing, market, because that's how people are going to know what you're doing and what you're offering.
Absolutely. I definitely think that's so important. I want to say that make sure you're communicating with community, make sure you're communicating with the Chamber of Commerce that you're a part of, or your economic development partnerships, because everybody's here to help you. We are here from the SBDC also to help you. So please, reaching out and saying that you want help and that you'd like us to just go through maybe a 30-minute conversation with you to see if there are just opportunities that maybe you could implement that are very easy to do. Being innovative right now is imperative. And sometimes, like I said earlier, you're so in your business that you can't see how you can work on your business. So, let us help you. Let us be that person that you reach out to. You phone a friend and you say, I've got this problem and I don't know how to deal with it. Definitely reach out to us, and please do so by contacting us. Thank you very much. At sbdcmichigan.org. Also, those business education programs that we talked about, Google and all of those type of trainings you can find on the website as well. So reach out, no cost, one-to-one business consulting. We have a suite of amazing consultants that range from my expertise in food and beverage to human resources to Shannon with marketing to finance to you name it. We can cover it. And if we can't, we know somebody who can. So please, I implore everybody to just schedule a meeting with us. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And I know I can speak for all of us when I say we wish we had all the answers and we wish we had, the solution for all of you, but it really is not a one size fits all solution. It is going to be a very individualized approach, which you guys can tackle with these ladies and the great team from the SBDC all over Michigan. So again, on the screen, you're seeing here where to go for that one-on-one business consulting. That is free. So invaluable. It's free. And then again, their business education programs at sbdcmichigan.org/training. I mentioned January 26th, they've got the Google webinar coming up. So you want to make sure that you go there, find out how to claim your page if you don't have it claimed already, how to get on the map, how to update your information. People are going to Google to find you. So why not, again, meet them where they are. I also want to mention tomorrow from 2 to 3:30, I see that they have a marketing basics. So if you want to focus specifically on marketing, maybe you're not ready to take on so much of the digitization just yet, and you need to start with a plan, where to go from here. Shannon, I saw you waving. Are you leading that webinar tomorrow?
I am.
Perfect. So 2 to 3:30, come back with Shannon here at this website, sbdcmichigan.org/training. I want to thank our ladies for joining me today. Again, we wish we had all of the answers, but they're here to help you find the perfect solution for you. If you know someone who should have joined us today but couldn't, again, you can tag them in the comments, share this on Facebook or YouTube, and it will also be uploaded to our website for on-demand viewing after the fact. Emily, something you want to add?
Yes, I also will be back on January 25th at 2 p.m. Sorry, January 25th at 2 p.m. So from 2 to 2:30, I have Tony Vu from Mamang, and he is within the Flint Farmers Market. So we're going to talk about adjusting operations and really looking at pivoting and maximizing your revenues. So stay tuned for that.
Great, Emily. And I do want to also mention that I saw that webinar opportunity because I follow SBDC Michigan on Facebook. So if you don't follow them on social media and you want to stay up to date with what's coming up, what information they're pushing out, be sure to give them a like on Facebook. And then before we go today, I do want to mention the Michigan Small Business Survival Grant Program, which we promoted yesterday. All of that information, again, is on our website, on our YouTube. And if you scroll down on Facebook, you'll see the on-demand video for that, how to apply for the grant program, how much is allocated for our area here in Genesee County. I got on the website today. The queue is still very large. Again, we still want to encourage you to continue checking back, to type in your email address so that you'll be notified when you are up in the queue, but it is a statewide grant program. So again, no perfect process, but we want to make sure that if you are eligible and that you need assistance, that you are at least applying, because you can't receive a grant if you don't try. So if you need help with that process, feel free to reach out to our team at the Flint Genesee Chamber of Commerce. We're more than happy to help. And again, Emily and Shannon, thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday morning to join us. We will see you next time. It's always great having the SBDC team here with us. So knowledgeable. We're big fans. And again, just thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having